Long Island medium Theresa Caputo is known for always standing up for people. This time, she lends a helping hand to a young mental patient, none other than her ex-husband, Larry Caputo. Larry's current wife, Connie Talley, causes such turmoil in their marriage that Larry suffers a mental breakdown. The constant stress made him sick and his normal life was disrupted. During this difficult time, Theresa stands by Larry, forgetting all her past conflicts. She puts aside all her preoccupations and rushes Larry to the hospital so that he can receive proper treatment and recover. Time will tell if Theresa's humanitarian initiative can usher in a new chapter in their relationship. Larry Caputo had always been a strong man, at least that's what he told himself. But lately, life had been unraveling faster than he could hold it together. His marriage with Connie Talley had turned into a battlefield, full of accusations, misunderstandings, and endless arguments. The pressure built up day by day, chipping away at his sanity, until one evening he simply broke down. Connie, overwhelmed by the situation, chose to step away rather than offer support. Larry found himself alone, lost in a maze of his own thoughts, unable to escape the torment inside his mind. He hadn't eaten in days, sleep had become a distant memory, and his once confident voice now trembled with anxiety. It was in this fragile state that Theresa Caputo found him. Despite their turbulent past, something in her heart told her she couldn't turn her back on him. Their history was complicated, filled with both love and resentment, but she couldn't ignore the suffering of a man she had once called her husband. Without a second thought, she took his shaking hands in hers and helped him into her car. The ride to the hospital was silent, except for Larry's quiet sobs and Theresa's reassuring whispers. "You're not alone, Larry. I'm here." At the hospital, doctors immediately began treatment, stabilizing him and ensuring he got the help he so desperately needed. Theresa stayed by his side, through every evaluation, every difficult night, and every small step toward recovery. As days turned into weeks, Larry slowly found his strength again. He looked at Theresa with newfound gratitude. "I never thought you'd be the one to save me," he admitted one evening. Theresa smiled softly. "Neither did I, but sometimes, life brings us back to the people who once mattered the most." Perhaps this wasn't just about healing Larry's mind, it was about healing old wounds too. And maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of a new chapter neither of them had expected. However, Theresa Caputo had encountered thousands of spirits in her lifetime, but nothing could have prepared her for what happened that night. It was past midnight when she sat in her dimly lit living room, sifting through the energy that had been lingering all day. Something was different, heavier, colder. The air felt thick, like an invisible presence was pressing down on her chest. Suddenly, the temperature dropped drastically. The candles on the table flickered violently before extinguishing all at once. Theresa's breath hitched as she felt an icy grip wrap around her throat. At first, she thought she was imagining it. But then, pressure, strong, unrelenting. Her hands flew to her neck, clawing at the unseen force that was choking her. Her eyes widened in terror. She had never been attacked by a spirit before. Voices whispered in her ears, overlapping, desperate, yet incomprehensible. She gasped for air, her mind racing. "What do you want?" She tried to scream, but only a raspy croak escaped her lips. A distorted voice echoed through the room. "Listen, find her, save her." Theresa's vision blurred. Shadows twisted around the room, forming a hazy image of a young woman with hollow eyes and outstretched hands. Just as suddenly as it began, the grip on her throat released. She collapsed onto the floor, coughing and gasping for air. As the sensation of strangulation faded, clarity struck her like lightning. Someone, perhaps a missing girl, a lost soul, was reaching out, pleading for help. Still trembling, Theresa grabbed her notepad and wrote down every detail she could remember. This was no ordinary encounter. This was a warning, a cry for justice from beyond the grave. and she knew she had to find the truth before it was too late. However, Lisa sat by her son Michael's hospital bed, holding his frail hand as the machines around him beeped softly. Michael, only 17, had been battling a rare illness for years. The doctors had finally told Lisa that there was nothing more they could do. She had to make the hardest decision of her life, to let him go peacefully. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "I love you, baby. I just want you to be free from pain." She agreed to stop the life support, allowing Michael to pass away peacefully in her arms. Years later, Lisa still questioned herself. Did I do the right thing? Was Michael ready to go? Guilt weighed on her heart. One day, Lisa attended a live event with Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium. She had always been skeptical, but something drew her there. As Theresa walked through the crowd, she suddenly stopped and looked at Lisa. "Honey, can I come to you? I have a young man stepping forward. He's showing me a hospital bed. He says, 'Mom, you did the right thing.'" Lisa gasped, covering her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. Theresa continued, "He's saying he wasn't in pain when he passed. He felt your love surrounding him, and he wants you to let go of the guilt. He knows how much you love him." Lisa sobbed, feeling a weight lift from her chest. For the first time since Michael's passing, she felt peace. As she left the event, she looked up at the night sky and whispered, "Thank you, my boy." And for the first time in years, she truly believed he had heard her. However, it was a chilly autumn evening when Rosie O'Donnell, feeling a deep longing to with her late mother, decided to visit renowned medium Theresa Caputo. She had seen Theresa's work before, but nothing could prepare her for what she was about to experience. As Rosie entered Theresa's cozy reading room, adorned with candles and soft lighting, she felt a mix of nervousness and anticipation. Theresa greeted her warmly, her signature blonde hair and long nails gleaming under the dim light. "Rosie, sweetheart, your energy is strong," Theresa said, closing her eyes for a moment. "I already feel someone stepping forward." Rosie took a deep breath, gripping the arms of her chair. She had lost her mother at a young age, and though years had passed, the pain never fully faded. Theresa gasped suddenly, "Oh my God, Rosie, your mom is here. She's coming through so strongly. She says she's been waiting to talk to you." Tears welled up in Rosie's eyes. "Is she okay? Is she happy?" she asked, her voice trembling. Theresa nodded with a soft smile. "She's showing me a white rose. That's a sign of pure love. She says she's always been with you, watching over you, especially during your hardest times." Rosie let out a shaky laugh. "She missed so much. My kids, my career, everything." Theresa's face grew serious. "She says she's seen it all, Rosie. The triumphs, the struggles. She's incredibly proud of the mother you've become." Rosie covered her mouth, emotions overwhelming her. She had always wondered if her mother was still a part of her life in some way, and now she had her answer. "She's also showing me something about a red scarf. Does that mean anything to you?" Theresa asked. Rosie's eyes widened. "Yes, she had this red scarf she wore all the time. I used to wrap myself in it when I missed her." Theresa smiled. "She's saying, 'Rosie, I still wrap you in my love, just like that scarf.'" At that moment, Rosie felt a warmth she hadn't felt in years. It was as if her mother was right there, holding her. Through tears, she whispered, "Thank you, Mom. I love you." Theresa gently squeezed Rosie's hand. "She loves you too, sweetheart, and she's never really left." As the reading ended, Rosie felt a newfound sense of peace. Walking out into the crisp night air, she looked up at the sky, knowing her mother was still with her, always. However, Master Jake Reynolds had been teaching self-defense for over 2 decades. He had seen all kinds of people walk into his studio, police officers, athletes, even celebrities. But nothing could have prepared him for the day Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, stepped through his doors. It all started when one of his students, a big fan of Theresa, arranged a private session for her. Jake, not being much of a believer in mediums, agreed but remained skeptical. As soon as Theresa walked in, she greeted him with her signature energy. "Oh, honey, you have a lot of spirits around you," she said casually. Jake chuckled. "Well, as long as they don't throw punches, we're good." Theresa smirked. "We'll see about that." The session began with some basic defensive moves. Theresa was surprisingly quick on her feet, but then something eerie happened. As Jake went to demonstrate a blocking technique, he suddenly froze. The hairs on his arms and neck stood up. His breath caught in his throat. "Whoa, my hair's standing up right now." Theresa tilted her head. "Yeah, that happens when spirits are around. Someone's trying to get your attention." Jake swallowed hard. The air in the room felt different. A chill ran down his spine. What do you mean?" he asked, his voice quieter than before. Theresa's eyes softened. "There's a man here. He's saying he trained you. He's proud of you." Jake felt his legs weaken. His old martial arts master, Sensei Rodriguez, had passed away 5 years ago. "He always said he'd be watching over me," Jake whispered. Theresa nodded. "Well, he's definitely watching. And he says, stop doubting yourself. You're meant to do this." Jake exhaled sharply. He had been considering retiring, unsure if he was making a difference anymore. But now he felt something shift. The class continued, but Jake couldn't shake the feeling that he had just experienced something truly unexplainable. As Theresa left, she gave him a wink. "Self-defense isn't just about the body, honey. It's about the spirit, too." Jake stood there, watching her go, his heart still racing. For the first time in years, he felt like his old mentor really was by his side. However, Emily sat nervously in the dimly lit studio, her hands clenched in her lap. She had been grieving for over a year, unable to find closure after losing her father in a tragic accident. When she heard about Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, she felt a strange pull, an unexplainable hope that maybe, just maybe, she could hear from her father one last time. Theresa entered the room, her presence warm and reassuring. She scanned the air around her, as if listening to something only she could hear. Then she turned to Emily. "I'm feeling a strong father figure here," Theresa said, her voice gentle yet certain. "He's showing me a gold watch. Does that mean anything to you?" Emily gasped, tears welling in her eyes. "Yes, my dad had a gold watch that he never took off. He was wearing it the night her voice broke. Theresa nodded. "He wants you to know that he didn't feel pain. He keeps saying, 'Tell my little girl I'm okay. Tell her I see her and I hear her.' He says you've been talking to him. Have you?" Emily covered her mouth, sobbing. "Every night. I sit by my window and talk to him, but I never thought he could hear me." Theresa smiled softly. "Oh, he hears you. And he's laughing because he says you still haven't fixed the car like he told you to." Emily let out a tearful laugh. "He was always nagging me about that. He's saying, 'Take care of yourself, kid. Live your life, and stop feeling guilty.'" Emily's heart ached, but for the first time in months, she felt lighter. The weight of grief shifted, replaced by warmth. She knew, deep down, that her father was still with her, just in a different way. As the session ended, Emily wiped her tears and smiled. She had come seeking closure, but she had found something even better: the certainty that love never truly fades. Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome to my channel. I am Mina. Hope your day is so well. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel.